Hi, Jeff. I'm glad you're on. And Randall, can we do a mic check?
Sure. Hello, I'm here.
Okay, great.
Yes, I'm here.
Excellent. Good afternoon, Melissa.
Hi, everybody.
Okay, folks, we are at the top of the hour, so we'll be jumping in very, very soon. We normally allow a few extra seconds for people to come in who are trying to connect.
It always takes just a moment longer than you expect when you're connecting, right?
Very true. Very true.
Well, especially if Zoom decides it wants to have you reload something new they've created.
Very true. We think we're in control, but it's not always the case, right?
This
We're
is
at the whim
true.
and whimsy of our technical platforms.
That's for sure.
More than we know, I bet.
Very true. Linda, you can go ahead and get on to the first slide.
Will do.
Thank you so much. Well, and thank you to everyone here. Thank you for joining us today. In fact, we're really looking forward to showing you why First Choice Business Brokers is really the right opportunity and why now is really a perfect time to become a business broker in general. We always say if you want to be your own boss, if you want to build your own legacy, if you want to create multi-generational wealth for your family, if that's your goal, then owning a business brokerage franchise is really an ideal vehicle to do so. To be successful in any business, you need a proven system, proven framework within an established franchise that will give you the support to thrive. That's why here at First Choice, we have proven systems to help our franchisees, our owners, in fact, to achieve their goals. We're fortunate we have Jeff Nyman and Linda Nyman here. They are the co-founders of First Choice Business Brokers. They're here to tell you why this is such a wonderful business opportunity. They are experts in the industry. They've run their office in Las Vegas, one of the largest operating business brokerages in the United States, for nearly 30 years. So to that end, let's not hesitate. Let's let Jeff and Linda take the mic and perhaps share some information with everyone.
I don't think it can be 30 years. I'm not that old yet.
Point
Um, uh,
taken.
all right. Hi. Thanks so much, Randall. I'm Linda Nyman.
And hi, I'm Jeff Nyman. And quite honestly, business brokerage is, even with all the negative information about recessions and economic problems, it's really going as strong as it possibly can. We're saying that, business brokerage is pretty close to almost a recession-proof type of business.
It is. And, we felt that way for so long now. It's obviously, again, it's been 30 years. So, for us, we look at it and say, my goodness, there's so many successful people out there. And we're seeing so many of them now getting ready for retirement. Of course, the baby boomers, right? This is what we're looking at these days.
Yeah, really, truthfully, there's never been a better time to become a franchise owner for First Choice. Just amazing times right now.
And, when we talk about business brokerage, I think a lot of people wonder what business brokerage is. Jeff, do you want to just explain what we do as business brokers, just ever so briefly?
Sure, really, very simple. We help business owners find buyers for their business, and we help buyers find a business. I mean, we couldn't get any simpler than that. We don't buy and sell businesses ourselves. We simply act as brokers.
So let's talk a little bit then about the industry. We talked about business brokerage as, you know, it's helping individuals that are entrepreneurs. But how many of us are there out there doing this? There are about 30 million small businesses, and there's only about 4,000 full-time business brokers.
The amazing thing really is that of those 30 million small businesses, the survey by I believe it was the Small Business Administration, said that over 20% of that 30 million business owners were either looking to sell or thinking
Mhm.
about selling or actually selling. That's, uh, that's quite a large number of businesses.
It's always blown my mind to think of that number. That's 6 million business owners plus, right? There's 6 million plus business owners that are either for sale, looking to sell. They're in that place, that they're in that mindset. And there's only
Yeah.
4,000 business brokers to reach out to them and kind of guide them down this path. And a lot of people that are out there as business owners, they don't even know that business brokers exist. They run their everyday business. They don't know that there is a possibility of being able to exit their business. Many think that they either have to grow or close. They don't realize that they have options.
Linda, I just want to reemphasize there's only 4,000 full-time business brokers in the entire country with 30 million small businesses. And just to give you an example, in the city of Las Vegas, there are 23,000 residential agents. In fact, in state of California, there's 500,000 residential agents, and we only have 4,000 in the entire country. Not exactly competitive.
Well, I guess you could look at the market as being kind of untapped in that respect. Even though the industry's been out there for a lot of years, it's kind of been a behind the scenes industry. And now we're seeing businesses, small businesses, more in the limelight today with all of what's gone on in the world. Business owners are in front of us constantly, and the Small Business Administration is writing loans, and they're excited to do that, and we're excited to
Wow.
be along for that ride. It really does feel like a virtually untapped industry. And the thing is that it's a these individuals that have their businesses and they want to sell their business, they really don't know how to get out of it and retire and go on to that next part of their life. They don't know where to turn. So it's an underserved niche just the same as well.
Well, every business that you drive by every single day, whether it's the gas station, the dry cleaner, the laundromat, the furniture store, or even the medical or dental practice, they're all potential sellers. And, it's just amazing. Literally, every business that you drive by is a potential seller. And so we have an amazing market that we work with.
Thank
So,
you very much, Jeff and Linda. One of the things that we like to touch on outside of the business brokerage business in and of itself is that it's a great way to achieve sort of a work and life balance, right? We've enabled our franchisees, our owners, to create wealth at their own pace. You get to create your own schedule. You work wherever you are, whenever you are. This gives you more desirable work-life balance overall. But at the same time, you can reach very, very impressive financial goals while still spending quality time with your loved ones. I'm sure everyone would love to understand how to achieve these personal and financial goals. Jeff and Linda, would you like to explain how business brokers generate revenue?
absolutely. So, we're talking to business owners who are looking to sell their business, and for handling the transaction, we do charge them a fee. And so, first of all, we're members of the International Business Brokers Association, and a few years ago they did a survey and they said, what does an average business broker charge their client? Well, we found out that the average was between 10 and 20% of the purchase price, with a minimum fee of between $10 and $20,000. First Choice usually charges around about 12 to 15% of the purchase price, or $15,000 minimum. That's our average. We're not saying that that's what has to be charged, but we're saying that that's pretty much what we do.
So I think it would be great to kind of go over an example here too, and just kind of explain that side of it. So as an example, a $600,000 transaction, let's kind of walk through how that would work. So we have a success fee. So let's look at that as being a 15% fee. So on that $600,000 transaction, you would have a $90,000 success fee. So that's when we sell the business. Then we also work with national SBA specialized acquisition specialists in business brokerage. They're working with us on SBA loans, again, on a national basis. So we do loan referrals, and those loan referrals can also bring in a benefit, typically 1% of the loan amount.
So in addition to that, if using a company that has where a seller is going to use a retirement program, there's also a rollover referral fee. And if you're in a state that requires a real estate license and the buyer is obtaining a new lease, then we also get a leasing commission. Of course, our biggest amount of money is in the success fee.
Yeah.
So
And the best part is all of these can be combined together. So you're able to utilize rollover funds for tax purposes. You're able to completely take advantage of SBA loans. In addition to what you see on the screen here, we also work with immigration attorneys. We don't usually take transactional fees from them, but they create more transactions for us as well. So those are some of the national relationships that we work with. So these are not going to be banks that are on the corner. They're not going to be necessarily your Bank of America or Wells Fargo. A lot of them are in SBA loans, but they don't work as much with the acquisitions the way that we do at First Choice. So we have specialists that work in that area.
an interesting point. Would you believe? Now, it does depend upon the state. For example, in the state of Nevada, approximately 75% to 80% of all of our transactions are either the buyer coming in with full cash or the buyer coming in with a certain amount and the seller financing the transaction. Now, I say that does sort of vary state to state. For example, in California, the amount of loans by banks is slightly higher, but most states, it's usually around 75% of our transactions are either cash or cash with seller financing. No banks involved. There's no credit qualifying. There's no FICO score because it's simply a private transaction. I think most people would be not surprised to hear that fact.
Oh, and it's interesting now because some of the SBA projects that we're working on are allowing for sellers to do a seller carry of the buyer's down payment. Literally, we just closed almost a $1.3 million deal in
Yeah.
Las Vegas. The buyer only came in with 25,000 of that, so it was pretty impressive what they were able to do. There's a lot of amazing programs out there right now to take advantage of.
Yeah,
So
believe it or not, the lenders are just pushing, trying to get more business. You think, oh, with all these crazy interest rates, it's they're holding back. Quite the opposite. Quite the opposite.
So I know we flashed this on the screen earlier, but I just wanted to show this again. These are our current territories that we're covering. Randall, there's quite a few of them here.
There are. We're operating in 105 territories, as you can see, in 34 states. And the growth, interestingly, if we produce a map of 3-4 years ago, it looks distinctly different. This is a great opportunity to come on board because we're kind of riding a wave of growth, and that's largely due to our success. We're in our 30th year now, and that's not trivial. Particularly those who are coming on as owners, because they love to see the history and the systems that we've built over that period of time. So thanks for going back to that slide, Linda. Appreciate it.
Yep, I noted that you didn't get an opportunity to talk much about it.
That's right. Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
All right. So let's also talk a little bit about what First Choice offers in terms of training for the offices, not only as a franchisee, but also your agents. We don't expect you to know everything about business brokers when you enter into the industry. And I think both Jeff and I would agree, we have a very diverse group of individuals
Oh
that are
boy, we
part
do.
of First Choice.
Yes.
That might be worth just discussing a little bit for a moment, Jeff.
Okay, well, I mean, we have people from such wide and varied backgrounds. We have, okay, so we have former CPAs, former attorneys, but we also have former 747 pilots. Let's see, what was that? Ed was a
Geologist,
geologist, yes.
a sommelier. I mean, we do really have a variety of individuals, quite a few. Now I can say quite a few, several PhDs. All of them share one thing in particular, and it is their love for business. And I think that that's what brings them into this. I most often, when you're talking to a business broker, especially one of our first choice owners, it's really kind of interesting because, and we usually talk about this at the end of a training. So what do you feel like you've learned during this 7 days of training? How do you feel about the industry? And every single group that we have, one person will say, I just wish I would have found this earlier in my life. And that's exactly how Jeff and I feel. We feel like, wow,
is.
we just, and it's been 30 years and we still wish we would have found it earlier in our lives. It's just such an industry that you can feel good about. One of our owners, Mike Lee, said something to me the other day. He said, I've done very well in my life, and I'm paraphrasing here. I've done very well in my life, and I've occupied a lot of corporate roles and managed a lot of sales teams. But he said the one thing that I feel about this is I've like found a home doing this, because he says I'm not only doing well, I'm helping people. And he said that combination is not something you see very often. And I think that's how Jeff and I feel too. So as an
Yes,
owner,
yeah.
you're helping, you may be brokering deals, or you're helping agents. We've had the opportunity to work with clients and change their lives, get them out of situations, especially with health situations. And when you see agents, and those agents are doing wildly, wildly well and are so happy with the change in their life, you've affected people not only as a client, but also those agents working for you. So as far as our First Choice University, we start that online. We have on-demand courses. The on-demand courses is about 54 of those. Then you move into what we call kind of the street smart side of it. Well, you're doing the live 7 days of webinars. So those are about 3.5 hours a day for 7 days. We do take the weekend off. So we have 7 days where we get together and have kind of like roundtable discussions, and we're reviewing case studies. So everyone that goes through First Choice University will do a minimum of 4 case studies on valuation on real transactions with P&Ls, tax returns, and so on. And then they have the opportunity to do write up a listing, do an asset purchase agreement. They've really gone through what it's like to be a business broker during these online courses that we're doing. And it's kind of fun, right, Jeff? I mean, we get a chance to see all those backgrounds put to use with those MPAs and market price analysis.
I think if you're journeying First Choice, you're going to enjoy, if you're, as we call them, serial entrepreneurs, because once you start looking at these businesses that we list and we sell, and it's like, oh my gosh, I didn't know this type of business operated this way, because we're the type of people, we go behind the front counter in a restaurant and look and see what's going on in the kitchen with the business owner, or in a manufacturing company, or maybe even in a medical or dental practice, and you get just a real kick out of seeing how businesses operate. And I mean, I'm going to give a quick story. Years ago, we had an economics professor who had retired from the university out here, and he taught economics and businesses. He came to work for us as an agent, and he was here for about 3 months. And he walked in my office one day. He says, I've been making a mistake. And I said, what do you mean? He said, I've been teaching these kids all these different items. This is real life about business. I said, yes, it is. And that's really what we're dealing with. Real life situations of people not selling their business because it's doing, badly necessarily, death, divorce, illness. I mean, all sorts of reasons, not because, oh, their business is losing money. Sometimes it's the complete opposite. They're making so much money, they just want to retire.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of truth in that. And boy, I'll tell you, it's a wonderful opportunity to be there to help them on their journey. It really is.
Very true.
So-
Thanks, Jeff and Linda. Do we want to move on to the marketing piece so we can get our primary marketing partner to share some information there?
That'd be perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So we often talk about how we support operationally. You know, there are things that have to be done contractually and operationally that are critically important to any business broker's business, and that's where we provide a lot of value. But of course, we need to provide a level of support on the marketing. How are you going to grow your business? How are you going to start your business and grow it? To that end, I'm going to hand it off to Grant Gooley, who is our primary marketing partner. He's going to talk a little bit about some of the tools we've implemented over the years. And Grant, why don't you share some info for us?
You bet. Thanks, Randall.
bet.
Always honored to be on these calls. My name's Grant Gooley, everybody. I'm the founder of My Portal Marketing, and I'm an honored partner at First Choice. Today, I'm just going to briefly discuss how marketing plays what I would call a pivotal role in business brokerage, particularly in establishing authority and becoming a trusted go-to person for buying and selling businesses. So I just want to emphasize that brokerage marketing, it's really about positioning yourself as a trusted expert in your field. And that's exactly why First Choice Business Brokers has achieved by partnering with the right teams, the right vendors, marketing support systems. And it's about offering a comprehensive, what I call a cross-channel approach to both marketing and sales, right? It's the entire flywheel that we're looking at all times. And at My Portal Marketing, as one of the vendors and partners here, we focus on critical digital channels. This includes developing modern, responsive websites optimized specifically for conversions. We also specialize in LinkedIn optimization and outreach, so connecting you with the right people, search engine optimization to rank your website, Google Ads, Meta Ads. These tools are they're really designed to generate leads from the moment that you begin as a new franchisee. And our systems and processes, they're meticulously thought out, they're tested, they're continuously refined. And our goal is to get you in front of sellers and buyers as quickly as possible, because we know the urgency in making connections and driving sales. I mean, that's what it's all about. So FCBB is proud to support its franchises on an ongoing basis with a dedicated brand fund committee. And this committee, they work tirelessly on your behalf. I get to be a part of it as well to gain national recognition. One of the recent advancements that we've actually introduced is this comprehensive dashboard. Every franchisee gets to utilize it. And I wanted to share that today if I could.
Oh,
Can I
great.
share my screen?
Absolutely. I'll stop my share. You go.
All right. Okay. So again, this is everybody can see?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. So this is an exciting advancement, as I mentioned, because inside this dashboard, you have all of the things that you need to market your business effectively and to make educated decisions about data. So it starts with support requests, right? So you can ask for a website change right here. You can ask for graphic design requests if you wanted a new brochure. If you needed a postcard to do a mailer, that's all these systems are set up and ready to go with easy execution. It's built to be efficient. And then we get into website analytics. So just so you know, this is a template. This is nobody's data, but easy to read, user experience. It makes sense. You get people like myself and my team to be able to jump into the dashboard and teach you about certain elements you should be looking at on an ongoing basis. The education's there. The different channels that you would be marketing on and what ones are successful and what ones aren't as much, so you know where to put budget. Google Search Console, this is search engine optimization. So we've got keywords of what are showing up on Google and what rankings, how many impressions, the click-through rate. So, and then here's the Google Ads national campaign that we do at quite a large level across the US to gain that national recognition. And then if you want to boost some Google Ads locally, specifically for your website, it's a click away right in this dashboard. So we want to make it easy, but we also want to give you the education around marketing so you can make strategic decisions. The last thing that I'll say is that, you know, our team's passion and dedication right across the board, from marketing to everybody you see on this call, I have to say it's world class. Had the opportunity to work in some large agencies, and the First Choice Business Brokers executive team and marketing partners, and it's truly world class. So thanks for your time today, and thank you, Randall, for having me and the FCBV team. I'm excited to share more about how we can help all the people on the call today with your business goals when you decide business brokerage is your next venture. Thank you.
Thanks so
Thanks,
much.
thanks as always, Grant.
Yeah.
If I could make just another point to add, you know, we've really put a lot of effort and work and knowledge into the digital marketing, the modern marketing techniques, but we also really rely on the old school stuff. We send postcards. People print postcards and pass them out. People go door to door, wearing out their shoes, passing out discreet letters in discreet envelopes, and they come back as listings because someone's walked into the office dedicating a bit of time and effort to reaching out. And we see as much success in those old school practices that we will coach you on as we do what I like to call the new school practices. It's a blend of both. And together they really turn to be an effective strategy. And we're there to help you across the board. So
You know,
thanks, Grant. I always like to add the little piece about the old school
Thanks,
stuff,
That's very good.
right?
it's so true. It's so true. And, you know, I'm kind of laughing here because I think about all of the agents that are part of the offices when they go through training. They talk about, oh, I'm a little nervous to do that, or I'm really great at speaking, or I'm really there literally is a method or a process that can be utilized in business brokerage across the board that's comfortable for each and every agent and owner. I mean, we have engineers in the group, we have CPAs. These are not people that typically want to, you know, stand up in front of people, but they're very analytical and they're consultative and they work really, really hard with the owners to understand valuation on their business and so on. And that's a lot of what we're training on. We're training you to kind of exploit your own skill set. And with that skill set and the tools that we have and the marketing that we have, you have the ability to go out there and be, as Jeff says, be part of all of these serial entrepreneurs' future. That's how I like to look at it anyway.
Linda,
Thanks so much.
Linda, I was going to go on for just a moment. You know, we do work as a team, and you know, as a team, all of our franchisees, they do help each other. We have owner meetings. We have our annual national conference every year. In addition to that, we have owner conferences. In fact, this year, I believe we're going having the owners go on a cruise.
Our retreat, yes, that's I'm going to call that
Sorry,
the
a
owner
retreat.
retreat. Yeah. So our
Okay.
national conferences are typically held in Las Vegas. We've been doing that since about 2008, and every time we try to move them to somewhere else, they say, "Oh no, we want to go to Las Vegas."
Yeah.
So we still have those in Las Vegas, but our owner retreats, we go to different places. We've had the opportunity to do that, and this year we are going on a cruise, and that should be a lot of fun. And for us, we look at it and say it's a great opportunity for us to see the collaboration and the true culture of First Choice. The office owners help one another. I've had the opportunity to see inside of different franchises, and a lot of times you'll see them almost like feeling a little timid with each other, like they don't want to share too much. And it's completely the opposite. When we get all of the owners together, we did our last year's event for owners in Cabo, and we were at an all-inclusive in Cabo, and we had a room there that we had everybody meet in, and we couldn't get people out of the room. They were collaborating so much. Everybody's taking notes, and how should we handle this? It's so interesting to see that. And as Grant mentioned, we like to evolve. We definitely feel that we need to listen to the input. And of course, we're in a unique position at First Choice because we are business brokers that franchise. We're not a franchise that happens to do business brokerage. And so our boots are on the ground right along with yours. Our agents are out there on the front line. So we're able to keep our finger on the pulse. We'll put it that way.
Linda, I'm just going to just go on a little bit. Just want to explain, we are a Main Street business broker. And so what I mean by Main Street is we're not up in the $100 million range where you live and die by the economy. In Main Street business brokerage, it's pretty consistent. We don't go, we have no wild fluctuations. For example, real estate goes crazy, we stay level. Real estate goes down the tubes, we stay level. And with small amount of growth, well, actually, lately it's been a large amount of growth. But because we're a Main Street, we're in a different type of business. We're not totally dependent upon what's going on in the economy. It's just sellers still want to sell, buyers still want to sell, and banks certainly want to finance. So we're in the right place at the right time.
Definitely. That's a great way to put it. And I know sometimes people ask about how we walk into businesses or how do we do all of this confidentially. And that's one of the things that I can say that we pride ourselves on. As business brokers, we are like secret agents. We're behind the scenes kind of putting together deals, and vendors don't know about it. Employees don't know about it. It's very, very confidential. All of the buyers will sign non-disclosure agreements. They provide proof of funds. We work very closely with the buyer and seller. We don't keep them separated. There's a trust factor that goes on between them. And that's why we consider business brokerage very, very consultative. It's not as salesy as it is consultative.
Yeah.
And that's an important part to understand with the business. Sure, sales skills will always help, obviously, but it's really wonderful to be able to help coach people through this process. So as we go in and we value a business and we market the business and we bring buyers and sellers together, we do all of that confidentially. And that is a big part of what we have as a reputation out there. We are the benchmark for professionalism in the industry. All right.
Uh-huh.
So I think a little bit about personal fulfillment we've already kind of talked about. There is no better job satisfaction than we've ever felt in anything that we've done. And again, I got to have that really meaningful conversation with Mike recently, and it really helps you to see what a difference you can make in people's lives, and to be able to do something you enjoy and to prosper doing it is pretty amazing.
We are in a life-changing business. I mean, for a seller who's looking to get out of their business, we're changing their lives, whether it's whatever it is, retirement, whatever the reason. And for a buyer, we're changing their lives. This is not like selling a vehicle or selling a house or selling some kind of product. We're in a business where it definitely is life changing. And the interesting thing about being a business broker is for our franchise, we have no inventory. We don't have a huge amount of build out. We don't have equipment to buy. It's just using the information that we will provide you to become a successful business broker. I believe we're going to open it up for some questions and answers. Is that correct, Linda or Randall?
We are. Yeah, we are. And I've seen some coming in already. So
Okay.
I'll go ahead and take a look and see what we've got there, and I will read a question out and perhaps direct it to the appropriate person.
Okay.
You know, it's funny, I'm looking at the first question. We always have very clever people coming in and asking very clever questions. So these are not softball questions, guys. Okay, so put your cap on. The first, it's a statement and a question. A sale or purchase related transaction of a small business can often be complicated and time consuming. Question one, what is First Choice seeing as the transaction cycle time? And the second part of that question, what licenses are required to be a business broker? And we know that's going to vary by state, but Jeff and Linda, why don't you, I think you could probably hit this one head on.
Yes, definitely. And I'm going to give it like a politician. I'm going to say that the life cycle for a transaction from list to sell will vary tremendously by state, because some states have more regulations for the types of businesses being sold, and so that can cause, I guess I would say probably, you know, if I were to average it out, 90, 120 days, and that is, I'm talking list to sell, not from purchase agreement to sell. Even with an SBA loan, we're seeing the shortest one, it was quoted the other day at 33 days, and probably the longest had licensing that went way further than that, but maybe 60 days on those that have an SBA loan. We're a little bit unique in that respect because at First Choice, we do collect a lot of data up front from our sellers when we're doing our market price analysis. This is a proper valuation, and in that while it sounds complicated, we have inputting systems that you're putting the information in to get the output of value. So please don't let that be of a great concern to you. So that life cycle part of it can vary by industry, and it can certainly vary by state.
So
Licensing,
yeah,
Jeff?
yeah, licensing, it really just depends on the state. There's about 16 states that require a real estate license. Even in Nevada is one of them. California, Arizona, Nevada, Florida, there's Georgia. I'd say there's 16 states. And even though we have real estate licenses, we do not sell real estate. We absolutely stay away from that. Our fees, we explained our fees, and so we're certainly not going to go into competition with real estate agents. There's too many of them.
Well, and I think it's important to say that when we list businesses, if they have a property with them, certainly that's going to be part of our transaction. And we're prepared for that in those states that require a license to sell businesses. We do have a process of handling that with partnerships. If you're in a state that doesn't require a license and you're selling businesses, then we have arrangements that you can get into as far as that's concerned. We do think that more and more states will require a license to sell businesses. It does seem to be the wave of the future. So it is our recommendation to eventually get one, even if you don't have to have one to begin with.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I have a question here that I am going to kind of restructure because I got the gist of the question. I'm going to restructure that, and I hope it answers the person who's posed the question. Do business brokers, are they able to sell online e-commerce in SaaS, software as a service businesses? I'll leave it to you guys as well. You've sold them all.
Yes, yeah, I was going to say, heck yeah, yeah. We definitely deal in that market. It's out there. We're seeing so much of it now. E-commerce, medical practices, dental practices, you name it. Every type of business.
Really, I mean, you sold the trophy company, the kids dresses company. These were online companies. They had no physical location here, even in Nevada.
Well,
So,
even the Amazon routes, the FedEx long haul routes, all of those types of businesses are businesses that we deal with. So very varied business. So I'm going to say a very varied business amount. Construction companies, bars, restaurants, of course, all of that. And I know that's more than what your question was, Randall, but so
Yeah,
definitely e-commerce and pool routes, construction, all of it.
Virtual businesses are businesses, and we do sell them.
Yep.
Right. And I think we've have an owner or two who has run a virtual business prior to becoming an owner. Right.
Yes.
So we do have experiences across the board. So there's that. We often get this question. It's a perfect segue to add on to this one. What kind of businesses do we typically sell? The answer is all kinds. Again, yep. I'm gonna let Linda and Jeff's experience tell you about a few different ones.
Just about any type of business you can imagine, from a chiropractic practice to a nail salon, to a vending route. I mean, construction companies. We sold a company that made doors for the apartments, and it's just about any kind of business you can possibly imagine. There really is no limit. What can't we sell? Well, we can't sell public, held, but type of facilities.
We do all privately held companies, but they can tend to be very large as well. And that's the interesting part. You could see, and you will see, if you are part of any of our social media, you'll see top agents in the country sell something at 5 or 10 or 20 million, and then you'll see them sell a $70,000 business. Remember, we have a $15,000 minimum. So we definitely see the gamut there as far as types of businesses and sizes of businesses. And that's what makes it interesting.
Thank you so much. Another great question. And what other sources of funding do our buyers utilize outside of SBA loans?
So seller carry financing, absolutely.
Yeah.
ROBS programs, the rollover programs, are definitely out there. And again, you know, there's private money. There definitely is private money out there, but we typically, if someone is going for a loan, they'll typically drift towards the SBA. SBA, under $1 million isn't charging their guarantee fees and certain things. So there's a lot of reasons why buyers kind of drift that way right now, because that pricing is less than it's been in the past. Interest rates might be higher, but the pricing is less expensive for them
We've
to
even
get those
seen
loans.
we've even seen for a small pool route where someone puts it on their credit card. I mean,
Yeah,
we've
that's
seen
true.
that, but most of the time, I say the bulk of our business is cash or cash with seller finance, and so there's not a lot of lenders out there, but that actually know anything about business loans. That's why we do go to these specialized lenders, as Linda had mentioned before. It's not the corner U.S. Bank or the Bank of America. These are national lenders that we have arrangements with that give us priority because of the volume of business that we give them. And so when we take a listing, many times we'll send that information to the lender and get it pre-approved. Then we have a buyer. We'll get a buyer pre-approved. And so we already know what's going to happen. All we have to do is put the two together.
You know, I hope it's okay to kind of toot our horn on this.
Mhm.
You know, Jeff, you were talking about how lenders give us preferential treatment. A lot of our newer agents coming on board are doing their market price analysis, and we do have somebody on staff that assists with that as well. But we also work with the companies and literally the co-founders of some of the companies out there that do the appraisals for the SBA. They teach classes for us, they attend our conferences, and the comments that we get from the lenders and the appraisers are, we've never met a more astute group, and we can't take credit for this. This is the people that are within the family that do the work. When they come to us, we're having an intelligent conversation about the value of the business, how we've arrived at it, and so on. And they said it's just incredible, the systems that we have, that we do our market price analysis, which is a first choice phrase, it's a valuation, is really, really easy to use. But it's so good in how it goes about the valuation that when we do get an opportunity to talk to the lenders and talk to appraisers involved, we're all on the same page. And that's part of the training process. And that's part of what I was talking about with that professionalism benchmark. They're happy to work with a first choice broker. They're happy to hear from them. We have lenders, and if you know anything about business brokerage and lending, we have lenders that will write as low as 150,000 for us. Most lenders, they don't want to write under 500,000. They want our business so bad. They will do the big loans, the little loans, and everything in between, because the process is a lot easier when they're partnering or they're doing work with an educated broker. And that I think says a lot.
Yeah, it's true.
Very good. You know, there are a few more questions, one of which is, what are the next steps? So we're not going to answer that question here. We're going to cover that at the very end and give everyone that information. But one question that's come in more than once is, how competitive is it to break into the Florida market? So there must be someone out there who's interested in one of the available Florida territories. And there are several available, we understand.
Yeah,
so
Florida does have a lot of business brokers, but very luckily for us, the way we operate, even when we have put a franchisee into the Florida market, because of our methods, we've been able to get a large market share almost immediately, because we operate very differently from some of the other competitors in the Florida market. There's no question Florida has is a great market and has it's a growing population, but it's also an area where you've had and I hate to say this, but a lot of business brokers have been very established for years, and they're just going to pick and choose. So it sort of leave the door open for someone who's coming in and saying, okay, let's get some business, rather than just waiting for the phone to ring. So is it competitive? Not really more than anywhere else, but
Well,
there's still
yeah,
room there.
I would say that there are several markets that have more business brokers than others, but the funny part is we know that as business brokers, but it's nothing like other industries like residential real estate or something like that. So what we might say is more competitive. When we're talking about some of the systems we utilize from a marketing perspective and building relationships and so on, that part of the industry, as Jeff is saying, can really make a difference in reaching out to the community in that market. And if the broker has been there for a period of time, they may turn away, and that's their prerogative, but they may turn away some of the smaller businesses or businesses in general if they don't tick every box on their checklist. And we definitely work with all business owners. We do our best to assist all of them.
I saw Grant turn on his camera because I can probably take the words right out of his mouth. So I'm gonna help answer this question a little bit differently. I knew he turned on his camera for a reason. So Grant is probably about to tell you that we build authority in a new territory through the marketing. Grant,
Yeah. How did
is that
you
what
know?
you were gonna say?
Yeah,
How
you
could I
absolutely
possibly
nailed
know?
Yeah. First Choice having such a long-standing relationship in business brokerage has built the authority already. So becoming a franchisee, you get to piggyback all of the work over so many years, decades. And so just for example, search engine optimization, we see new URLs hit page one for very difficult keywords to rank usually, but it hits page one because we're piggybacking off of the authority from the websites that are already out there. So when we talk about competition, you've got a head start when you're with First Choice.
Yeah. I couldn't have answered it that way.
I told you, I knew he was coming on, to show everyone how clever he is.
It's funny because, you're giving a marketing perspective and we're looking at it from a, boots on the ground perspective. And there's just, when you're working with a business broker and if the client actually has an opportunity to interview different business brokers, they do tend to drift towards the First Choices methods. They appreciate the confidential nature and the professionalism that we have. I think our agents are highly trained, and they're trained obviously by people that have been in the industry for a lot of years. It does make a difference. Experience counts.
Certainly. We're probably close to hitting the time constraints, and we're always mindful of everyone's time. But there are a few more questions that I think are worth putting out there. And this one kind of goes to marketing, but it also goes to the traditional business. How does a broker prospect for businesses that may or may not be for sale? I'm paraphrasing. And how does that necessarily translate to working within your local territory? And I think that's the general gist of the question.
If we were to talk like long term, buyers become sellers and sellers become buyers. So once that business starts to flow and you're doing good business, and this is why we are not a one and done single transaction kind of brokerage. We are definitely referral based. I will definitely say that. So reaching out to businesses and being able to help educate business owners, not talking down to them, but having a peer-to-peer relationship is how we develop our relationships with the local community of business owners. And as I was mentioning earlier, there is a method for just about every type of personality out there. Every business you go by is a potential client. They are. And I'm sorry, Jeff, you were going to say something. So
Every business is for sale at the right price, but I'm going to say this: we in our training we give you all the different methods how to find business owners, and believe it or not, most business owners, if you say to them, "Hey, would you like to find out how much your business is worth, and when you're ready to sell?" I'm going to tell you, overwhelmingly, people will say, "Sure, yeah, heck, well, and that's really when we offer what we call a market price analysis, where we do a valuation. It's a free valuation of the business, and usually that seller who says, "Well, thank you so much. Hey, by the way, do you have any buyers of my business?" And are businesses like mine selling? So what you actually have is the business owner going after you, trying to get you to list their business. You have to be in it to see this, because it's funny, because most people think that it's a really hard sell to get a listing. It really isn't. It's just a matter of if the numbers make sense to the business owner, and whatever their motivation is to leave that business. And a lot of it's burnout. They've had a business 20 years. It's time to move on. Just
And I
because
think
they've got a business doesn't mean to say they're not going to sell it.
but that's what's so great about the business. If you're a professional and you're looking for that, I often say this, this is can be your final career. I will tell you, our oldest agent is 80 years old. There is one out there that's running around in their 90s, early 90s. And then we also have agents that are, mid 20s, early 30s, and they work together beautifully. It's a wonderful collaboration you will see out there. But it's a peer-to-peer relationship that you have with the seller. There's 2 seconds of selling, and then the most of it is consulting and facilitating. It's very, very different from what you think of as sales. We really earn our money when we keep that buyer and seller together. We are the
Yeah.
glue that keeps that deal together, and we're facilitating that process. Sometimes I refer to it as a glorified secretary, because sometimes you're just bringing the parties together and you're there monitoring the process and keeping on top of things. We do have one phrase that we use constantly, especially when we're hearing the success of offices. This is a thinking person's business. If you like to solve problems, if you like the entrepreneurial side of business, right? And you like to see that and you like to support it. This is that business. And that's the reason why certain people will say, if I wish I would have found this sooner in my life, because it is that. But I always remind them, everything that you've done in your life has led you to this point. Your history, without that, you wouldn't feel the same way, the same passion towards the industry, if you didn't have all the experiences you had up to this point. So that's kind of the best way. And I will say that quite a few of the agents with First Choice were actually clients of First Choice. So that's another little. I guess that will show you a little bit about the relationship that our agents have and our office owners have with their clients. It's so strong and so peer to peer that we literally bring on owners that have sold their businesses that say, I don't want to run a business anymore, but I don't want to be out of business. I love this. So something to
Very
think
true.
about there.
Thank you, Linda, very, very much. Normally at this point, one of us kind of concludes with an overview of what we've talked about. Jeff and Linda, or Jeff or Linda, would you like to do that? If you'd like me, say the word, or just go for it.
Thank you.
I would just say that if you haven't done any research on baby boomers, I would highly recommend that. And we could give you some outrageous statistics on the trillions, literally trillions of dollars that are changing hands and millions of businesses. But just keep in mind, 30 million small business owners, 20% of them are either for sale or looking for sale. Wow. That's all I can say with that part of it. I don't know, Jeff, if you have any other points to point out.
No, I think you said it. It is just an amazing business, and we have so much fun because we meet so many different people. So, we're not going to people's homes at 7 o'clock on a Sunday evening or driving them around town. This, as Linda said, it's a very peer-to-peer where we're treated by the business owners the same way they would treat their attorney or CPA. It's a very professional kind of situation, and we get very, very well compensated for it. In fact, we have one of the agents in Las Vegas he's in a 7-figure range. This is an agent. This is not a franchisee. So the income is unbelievable, but always it depends on your activity. I really appreciate everybody joining us today. It's Linda and I have fun, just doing this, giving this information.
It's kind of like Grant when he, it's like he can't wait to tell you something about the market. We feel the same way about business brokerage. There are a million stories that we could tell and a million heartwarming stories as well. So those of you that are numbers people, yes, there's the number side of it, but there's a lot of emotion that goes into this business as well. When you're working with people that have spent decades, literally decades, preparing their business, if you will, for sale. And they care about who they sell it to, and they care who sells it. And that's where you come in as a business broker.
Perfect. So that I'm going to go back to that question that came in. It sounds like it was a setup, but it was not. It was a real question. What are the next steps? So thank you, whoever's out there. It wasn't one of us. It was not a plant. So the next steps are pretty straightforward, but I'm going to make a note first. The next training is July 22nd. It runs through the 30th. This, if you were to join now, that gives you ample time to kind of do the homework, the pre-work that qualifies you to enter First Choice University. So that's meaningful. It's great timing. But the next steps are pretty straightforward. Speak with Melissa Salyer, get on her calendar. You'll have follow-up questions. Perhaps you'll want to talk to some of our owners. Sometimes you might want to talk to some of us again, one-to-one. Melissa and her team will have you fill out a franchise application, get you started, and take you right through that process. Once you come on board, you'll enter back into our world, starting with my world, where I will onboard you and sort of show you the ropes and set you in the right direction. Okay.
Well, thank you, everybody.
So thank you all once again for coming, and again, reach out to our team with Melissa Salyer. Okay.
Thanks so much for taking your time today. Thanks to Grant also for joining us. It's always nice to have you on. All right. Thank you so much.
Everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.